The reason you're not rich, fit, or respected, it's not luck, it's not talent, it's because you can't do the same damn thing every single day without whining. Consistency builds killers. Inconsistency breeds cowards. So wake up. This is the truth you've been avoiding. Consistency isn't sexy. It doesn't trend, but it dominates. The sharpest minds, the fiercest bodies, the biggest bank accounts, they're not built in a day. They're carved from years of unshakable discipline. If you want to win forever, you better learn to keep going when others quit. Winners don't stop when they're tired, they stop when they're done. That's the difference. That's the gap between average and extraordinary. You think you're grinding, but the moment it gets uncomfortable, you pull back. Winners, they lean in. They keep swinging when their arms are shaking. They keep building when the world's on fire. And they keep marching when everyone else has sat the hell down. They understand something the weak never will. Momentum is not magic, it's earned, it's forged. It's the compound effect of showing up every damn day, whether you feel like it or not. Every action you repeat builds pressure, and pressure breaks through walls. That's how greatness is born. It's not a lightning strike, it's a battering ram. It's hundreds of hits, thousands of hours, millions of micro decisions that all stack in your favor. You do it so many times it becomes second nature. But here's the problem. Most people can't take the boredom, the grind, the repetition. They want fireworks, they want novelty. But life doesn't pay you for excitement, it pays you for mastery, for consistency, for being the one in the room that does the work, especially when nobody's watching. You don't need a miracle, you don't need some secret formula or a perfect plan. You need to do the damn reps. Mentally, physically, financially. That means you read when others binge. You invest when others spend, you train when others rest. You get up early and you show up sharp, not once, not twice, but again, and again, and again, until the results start to fear you, because here's the truth. Life bends to the will of the relentless, not the lucky, not the gifted, the relentless. Momentum isn't built in a day, but break your rhythm for 1 week excuse and it can all collapse. That's why consistency isn't just a strategy, it's a weapon. You sharpen it every morning, you reload it every night, and you fire it by taking action regardless of how you feel. Feelings are for amateurs. Pros move with purpose. They understand that once momentum kicks in, the game changes. Discipline becomes energy. Energy becomes output. Output becomes dominance. There will be days when everything tells you to stop. Your mind, your body, your surroundings. But those days, that's where champions are made. Anyone can go hard when it's easy. Only the obsessed grind when it's brutal. And those are the days that multiply your momentum tenfold. That's when life tests your resolve. And if you answer with action, the world opens up to you. So if you want to win, really win, you don't stop. You keep building pressure until the door breaks. You stay consistent until you're undeniable. You create so much forward force that failure simply gets out of your way. That's momentum. And that's how you take over. You can hustle hard for 3 days and get absolutely nothing. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. They post about grinding, they stay up all night for a couple of days, then burn out and disappear. That's not power. That's amateur hour. Hustle is temporary, habits are permanent. If you want to win in life, in business, in health, or anywhere that actually matters, you need to stop chasing adrenaline and start constructing systems. Real winners aren't riding waves of hype. They're laying bricks every damn day, even when no one's watching. Hustle's emotional. It's what people do when they feel good, when they're hyped up on caffeine and motivational videos. But what happens when that dopamine wears off? What happens when your body's sore, your phone's silent, and nobody's clapping? That's where most people fold. That's where the tourists exit the arena. But the savage, the future king, keeps going. Why? Because it's who he is. His habits run the game. He doesn't need motivation. He's programmed. He's wired for execution. You see, discipline is freedom. People think it's a cage, but it's the exact opposite. When your life is built on systems and structure, you don't waste energy deciding what to do. You wake up and execute. There's no debate, no delay. You move, you act, because it's not optional anymore, it's identity. When you build the right habits, they carry you through fatigue, boredom, pain, and distraction. The right habits are the army that fights for you when your emotions betray you. That's why the grind will always beat the gimmick. That's why the ritual will always outlast the rush. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. One day you're fired up, the next you're in a fog. But routines, they stay. You want to build something great? Then build yourself first. Lock in your mornings, lock in your fitness, lock in your time blocks. Eat the same meals, make the same calls, read, train, think. Every single day, you get boring before you get dangerous. And guess what? The dangerous ones win. You want to become unstoppable? Then stop chasing inspiration and start chasing consistency. Because success doesn't belong to the loud. It belongs to the relentless. It belongs to the one who trains even when it's inconvenient, who shows up even when it's hard, who follows through even when the world throws chaos in his face. That kind of person doesn't get lucky, he gets inevitable. Forget the short-term hustle. Forget trying to impress people. Build habits so strong they make quitting feel unnatural. Because that's where the game really changes. When excellence becomes automatic. When execution becomes instinct. That's when you stop surviving and start dominating. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you win. Not in the gym, not in the boardroom, not on Instagram. You win in the space between your ears. That battlefield where 99% of people lose before they even start. That's the war most never talk about because it's invisible. It doesn't get likes, it doesn't come with applause, but it's the most important fight you'll ever face. When you say you're gonna do something and then you actually do it, you're not just checking off a task. You're casting a vote for the kind of person you are. You're building self-respect, and that's the foundation of real confidence. Most people are slaves to their feelings. They act when it's easy, when they're motivated, when the stars align, but that's not discipline, that's luck. That's emotional convenience disguised as work ethic. And life doesn't reward that. It rewards the ones who show up regardless. When your mind wants to quit, when your body says, I'm done, and you still take one more step, that's where the growth is. See, that's where power is built. Consistency is what conditions the mind to stop negotiating with weakness. Every time you push through the resistance, you're sending a signal to your brain, we don't back down, we follow through, period. That rewires your mental blueprint. That's how you go from fragile to unbreakable. You think Navy SEALs, Olympic champions, or top-tier CEOs feel like doing the hard stuff every day? Hell no. But they do it because their identity is built on execution, not emotion. And that identity is sculpted through one thing: relentless, ruthless consistency. The real value of repetition isn't just in getting better at a skill. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't flinch, who doesn't need perfect conditions, who doesn't wait for permission. Repetition builds reflex. Reflex becomes instinct. And instinct under pressure is what separates champions from the crowd. You're not just training your body or your calendar, you're training your psychology. Your threshold for discomfort expands. Your ability to stay calm under chaos increases. And that's when you become dangerous. Not because you're the loudest, but because you're the most stable. In a world full of emotional toddlers pretending to be grown-ups, your consistency makes you a damn weapon. You want peace of mind? You want real power? It starts with keeping your promises to yourself. It starts with showing up again and again and again, especially when no one's watching. Because here's the truth. When the mind is trained through consistency, no setback can break you. No failure can define you. No fear can own you. You've built a fortress in your head, and that fortress becomes your freedom. No one cares why you didn't do it. Not life, not business, not the marketplace. They only care, did you execute? That's the raw truth. You can explain, justify, cry, complain, post long rants online about how the odds were stacked against you. But at the end of the day, results are the only language the world understands. And if you didn't produce, if you didn't finish, if you didn't deliver, it doesn't matter why. Because excuses don't pay bills, excuses don't change lives, excuses don't build empires, execution does. You want sympathy, call your grandma. But don't bring that soft mentality into the arena of winners. Out here, no one gives a damn about your feelings. They care if you showed up and made something happen. That's it. This is not personal, it's business. And in business, results reign supreme. The scoreboard doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't track your intentions. It tracks your actions. Period. You think successful people haven't had reasons to quit? They've had more. More pressure, more weight, more on the line, but they didn't fold. They executed. You think building a business, a legacy, a powerful mind and body happens on your good days? No. It's built on the bad days, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when everything inside you says skip today, and you punch that thought in the throat and go anyway. That's the separation. That's what divides the top 1% from the herd. Most people wait for perfect conditions. They need to feel ready, feel motivated, feel supported. Winners don't wait. They pull the trigger and execute in chaos. They train their mind to operate regardless of the mood, because they understand that the gap between dreaming and doing is crossed only by execution. And yes, it's going to suck sometimes. You're going to feel alone. You're going to feel unappreciated. You're going to hit walls that make you question if it's even worth it. That's when you diggle down. That's when you dig deeper, get louder, move faster. Because while everyone else is backing off, you press forward. That's how champions are built. In the fire, in the dark, in the grind that nobody claps for. Execution's a decision, it's not a gift. It's not luck. It's a mindset that says, I do what I said I'd do, no matter what. That's power. That's what makes you dangerous. And once you start stacking that kind of behavior daily, you become unstoppable. Not because life got easier, but because you got harder. So burn the excuses. They're just stories you tell yourself to stay soft. You don't need more time. You need more discipline. You don't need more inspiration, you need more reps. Execute with intention. Execute with urgency. Execute like your future depends on it, because it does. You don't have to be the best today. Hell, you might not even be in the top 10 right now. But if you outlast the week, if you show up day after day when everyone else flakes, whines, and quits, you win. That's the truth they don't teach in school. This isn't about flash. This isn't about hype. This is about endurance. It's about staying in the game when everyone else taps out. And you do that with relentless execution. While they sleep in, you execute. While they scroll their lives away looking for the next dopamine hit, you sharpen your mind, your body, your skills. While they come up with excuses, you come up with strategies. While they binge mediocrity, you study greatness. You see, you don't need to sprint out of the gate like a superstar. You just need to refuse to stop. Let them gas out. Let them post about working while you actually work. Time is the ultimate equalizer. It doesn't care who you are, where you're from, or what your starting point was. It only cares what you do with it. And if you keep showing up, hammering away, stacking bricks day after day, time will start working for you. At first, it feels like nothing's happening. You're sweating, grinding, pushing, and nothing seems to move. But that's the test. That's the price of greatness, and the weak fold right there. But you stay in it, you keep going. And little by little, consistency starts to compound. One win turns into two. One skill becomes a weapon. One small victory creates momentum, and momentum becomes domination. People look at you years later and call it talent, luck, or timing. They have no idea how many nights you bled, how many mornings you woke up tired but still laced your boots and went to war. See, time bends to the ones who never stop showing up. It rewards the ones who put in the work with no spotlight, no applause, no instant payoff. It punishes the half-hearted, the flaky, the ones who treat their goals like a hobby. Time is savage to the lazy, but for the relentless, for the man or woman who refuses to quit, time becomes a force multiplier. Because if you keep pounding on the door long enough, the damn thing breaks. That's not motivation, that's reality. The world doesn't belong to the fastest, it belongs to the most consistent. And that's good news, because you can control consistency. You can control how often you show up, how hard you hit, how much pressure you apply. You don't need to be born gifted. You just need to commit like your life depends on it, because it does. So while the world gets distracted, while the weak make excuses, while the average stay average, you stay locked in. Stay sharp, stay dangerous, keep going. Because time doesn't care who you are today. It only rewards those who never back down. Keep showing up, and eventually, you won't just win, you'll be unstoppable. You do this long enough, it's not effort anymore, it's who you are. You're not pretending, you're not forcing, you're not chasing motivation or waiting for the stars to align. You're not waking up asking, do I feel like it today? You just move, automatically, relentlessly. You become the type of person who doesn't skip, doesn't slack, doesn't settle. You don't need alarms, you wake up with purpose. You don't need cheerleaders, you've built fire inside your own chest. Because repetition rewires you. It takes who you were and burns it to the ground. Then rebuilds someone stronger, someone sharper, someone unrecognizable to the version of you that made excuses. This is identity transformation, not from books, not from hype, from doing. Every single day, the cold mornings, the lonely nights, the silent hours, grinding when no one's watching. That's where the shift happens. It's not one moment. It's 1,000 tiny moments that stack, that compound, that take the try out of your vocabulary. The man or woman you become after months and years of consistency doesn't need hype. They are the hype. They walk in a room and people feel the intensity, not because they talk loud, but because they've walked the path. They've barely for it, earned it, lived it. And this is the part most people miss. Consistency isn't just about results, it's about becoming. You become reliable, you become lethal. You become the kind of person who can be trusted with business, with leadership, with pressure, with legacy. Because if you've mastered yourself, everything else is just detail. You've built armor, not fake confidence, real confidence. You've proven to yourself through action that you finish what you start. That when it hurts, you stay. That when it's boring, you still deliver. That when it's thankless, you still show up like a savage. Because that's who you are. You want to win forever? It's not about going hard once. It's about going steady, brutally, consistently, through the highs, through the heartbreaks, through the victories and the silence. You build a life brick by brick, not by wishing for the perfect day, but by showing up on the worst ones, until the hard things become normal, until discipline becomes default, until your very identity screams execution. People will ask you how you got here, They'll ask for shortcuts, secrets, hacks, and you'll smile because the truth is simple but savage. You just never stopped. You outlasted the week. You shut down the noise. You did what needed to be done every single day, long after others quit. And somewhere along the line, you didn't have to try to be consistent anymore. You just were. That's the power of repetition. That's the force of identity forged through execution. And once that switch flips, no one, not fear, not failure, not fatigue, can take it from you. You became it. And once you become it, you win forever. So yeah, it's hard. Good. That means it's working. You're not here to be average. You're here to win forever. Stay sharp, stay dangerous. And remember, consistency is power. Keep going or get left behind. Excuses don't build empires. Execution does. Subscribe for more real talk.